Well, at least I could say one of my teams gave me a good weekend. It's too bad the other team had to ruin it. So, yeah, you don't get an intro. Heck, I'm not even going to put the outro at the end of it. You don't even get to hear the DuckTales Moon theme at the end of this. Steelers lose 26-7 to the Buffalo Bills. So now the Steelers are now 6-6. And next week they're going against Baltimore, also 6-6. It's going to be the 6-7 Bowl. Loser gets the ultimate punishment. You get to be memed for one whole week. Matter of fact, for the Steelers, they better hope it's not them because you got another whole day before you play the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. But let's talk about this game, even though I don't really want to. The Bills were able to take advantage of a whole team that went away in the first half because both teams kind of got in their own way in the first half, but 2 turnovers for the Steelers defense. A pick from Brandon Echols, and then, of course, James Cook fumbling and Patrick Queen recovering it. And, of course, that fumble led to that Jaylen Warren touchdown. Other than that, what the hell did we do? What the hell did we do? Absolutely nothing. But what I saw from the Steelers was the same team the whole 60 minutes. The team that relies on their defense to make big plays. And when they do, they're like, oh, wow, we're actually pretty close to the end zone. We might as well start scoring. We got it easy. You know why? Because they can't rely on themselves. They can't even go one whole drive. They can't even go through one whole drive down the field and score. They can't. There was one stat line I saw. In the third quarter, the Steelers had 3 yards on offense. 3. If that is not embarrassing enough, then I don't know what is. After you scratch that, 3 rushing yards, that's still bad. It doesn't make it any better. Because after that fumble by Aaron Rodgers, you put out Mason Rudolph, throws a pick, and then you immediately throw Rodgers back out there, and it didn't do much because the whole fan base does not expect the Steelers to do much at this point. James Cook was cooking. Like, literally. He was cooking the whole defense. He had 144 yards. The entire Steelers defense gave up 249 yards rushing. That's the most by any Steelers opponent since 1975. Want to know who set the record that year? It's the Bills. They brought out, they gave up 229 yards that day to a future Hall of Famer who probably wouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame in 2025. Heck, you probably could have brought him back for the dead, and he still would have had a 100-yard performance against this defense today. That is how bad the Steelers have become. Like some people want to blame the defense, some people want to blame the offense. No, everything is bad. The most expensive defense in football? Bad. Offense? Bad. Play calling? Bad. Coaches? Bad. Front office? Bad. It's gotten to the point where the Steelers fan base was booing Renegade. Yeah. The actual defensive anthem was being booed. I never, in 25 years on this planet, have seen this team get booed for playing Renegade. The song that was supposed to pump the fan base up whenever the defense was on the field. This is the first time I've ever heard Renegade get booed. As a matter of fact, I might as well not even show it now. There, just a plain yellow towel. Actually, it should be white because that's how the Steelers have been playing this whole season. Actually, I shouldn't even say whole season because they did have a good start at 4-1. But like I mentioned before, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we are not heading for a very good finish. 6-6. Listen, I made that short celebrating Aaron Rodgers' much late arrival to Pittsburgh when I said, woo, playing the parade of 9-8. I was really expecting to eat my words at the end of the year. With as much hype as Aaron Rodgers got throughout the whole offseason, I was expecting to eat my words. But no. We're on track for what we wanted. You wanted 9-8. The standard is the standard. The standard is 9-8. The standard is 10-7. The standard is losing after one round of the playoffs. That's the standard. Actually, that's not the standard for the Steelers. That is Mike Tomlin's standard. And I even think it's the front office's new standard. Because there's a whole lot of tweets on the artist formerly known as Twitter. They're all calling for the front office to do something. When the Steelers fan base is booing Renegade for like the first time in ages, that might be a sign you should do something about it. The amount of people I've seen calling into radio shows in Pittsburgh on tree cord, they are complaining about how poorly this team has become. Don't let the record fool you. This team is not 6-6. They should be 3-9 at the very least. This team should have lost to the Jets in week 1. This team would have probably gotten blown out by the Patriots in week 3 if they hadn't committed 6 turnovers that week. Heck, this team probably should have lost to the Vikings. If anything, we should be 2-7 at this point. Actually, no, not 2-7. We should be 2-10. This isn't college football. They're not going to, where they give you a cookie, where they give a cookie to Alabama for just beating a team like Charleston Southern by 1, and they still end up at top of the rankings. No, it does. The NFL doesn't work like that. I just don't get this team. There's a whole lot of tweets calling for Art Rooney II to do something. Because, let's be real, like many emperors of Rome, he's not like his father. because near the end of the original Art Rooney's reign, the team became a dynasty. The team actually became super after over 40 years of futility, of mediocrity, of having to deal with the failed combinations with the Chicago Cardinals or Arizona Cardinals or St. Louis Cardinals, whatever they were, the Chicago Cardinals. And also the failed combination of the Steagles of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. The only time where you can merge those two cities together. It didn't work out. And now there's a lot of more Fire Tomlin comments than ever before. I remember all the Fire Canada chants like that's not happening. But then they went ahead and fired him. Like, what? Christmas came early? Now we're way past that with Mike Tomlin. Because let's be real. We all have an expiration date. And you can say Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl all you want. But that was with Bill Cowher's men. When the team still had talent. Like Hines Ward, Ben Roethlisberger. The team had talent. And, of course, James Harrison, one of the more, in an actual defense that would scare you into going number 2 in your pants. Yeah. Makes me feel old. Reminiscent about a team like that makes me feel old. And a lot of people are saying that this could be Mike Tomlin's last hurrah. This team is not serious. When you go 4-1 and the teams way below are completely collapsing, that might be a sign to maybe leave your foot on the gas and start driving. And now, somebody needs to pop the brakes because we're driving off a cliff. And now, Baltimore, despite losing to Cincinnati, has now gotten a brief reprieve. Because now they're hosting the first edition of Steelers versus Ravens this week. And I don't see us winning. As a matter of fact, I probably don't see us winning another game this week. Another game this year. If you look at the schedule for the rest of the year, the Ravens, I'm not even sure if we can win now. The Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Yeah, the Dolphins may be terrible, but I don't see us winning. As a matter of fact, we're only 3-point favorites against them. Yeah. And the Dolphins were considered a dark horse contender for the Tank Bowl. And now look at them. They're 5-7, and their future is way brighter than the Steelers right now. The Lions, mark it down as a loss. That's in Detroit. Cleveland, well, we haven't won there in 4 years. Might as well mark that down. The Ravens, I'm not even sure at this point. We are going to get creamed by all the remaining opponents if we continue to play like this. What team do you want to be? A team that constantly competes for championships like you did in the 2000s? Or Do you just want to be middle of the pack, standard is the standard, and just go along? Because right now you're choosing the latter. And the fan base does not want that. Do you not have ears? You can hear all the calls, the red flags. Do you not see them? Do you not hear them? I hate to say it, but the golden age is over. When this team that's barely holding on to a wild card spot in the NHL is the best team in Pittsburgh, that might be a sign you might need to open your eyes. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if you trade away Trent, Jordan, Watt. I'm not even surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised at this point. Because every single star we trade ends up thriving somewhere else. Not just the receivers. George Pickens is thriving in Dallas, and they actually have a chance to do something with a talented offense and a defense that's actually been revived after the loss of one of their comrades. Dante Jackson, I see him working wonders with the Los Angeles Chargers defense. Every single team. Here's how you have success. Step one, get drafted by the Steelers. Step two, leave. And people dog on Ohio for being a place where being the first step is to leave. No, that's for the Steelers. Because in Ohio, there's plenty of stuff to do. And there's plenty of stuff to take your mind off of everything. What the hell do the Steelers have? What's there to look forward to? Nothing. I look forward to seeing the Steelers and the Ravens. It's going to be a blowout. Will I still watch? Yeah. Will I still stream? Probably. Am I going to go into that stream with optimism? Absolutely not. Because whatever the Steelers were, they're a shell of themselves. And it's deeply embarrassing and sad and upsetting. But will the front office ever listen to our cries? Probably not. They're just going to let the coaches retire or let their contracts expire, and then we continue. At this rate, we're probably not going to see a playoff win for another 25 years with this team. And hopefully, the front office has plenty of time to figure that out. But we'll see what happens. That does it for me. Please feel free to like, comment, share this with your friends, subscribe to the River of Duck One All Sports Network. I'll see you guys for a World Cup draw video. That's going to be the next video coming out. And then we'll see you guys on Friday with Logical Canadian here on YouTube and Helvetica28 on Twitch for the World Cup draw. And then I'll be joining Illogical for Friday and Saturday for his 10th anniversary streams. He's going to be streaming the whole week, so be sure to check him out. But until we meet again, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone. No, you don't even get a Let's Go Steelers. And no, you don't even get an intro and recording.